Today, I want to talk about how to create a burnout recovery action plan, specifically looking at what can you do to try and help yourself either start to recover from burnout or maybe prevent it in the first place, because it is a tough place to be. And I don't want to see anybody else have to try and function like I did or like any of my clients did. So I want to offer some easy ways to create a plan. So first and foremost, we have to start with improving our self-awareness and assessing to determine how burnt out am I? How high is my stress level, or how long have I been burnt out? You see, a lot of us are not very aware of what's going on in our body. We are so externally focused on everything going on outside and around us that we don't necessarily recognize those signs within ourselves that say, hey, something's going on. You need to pause and reflect, right? I know for me, when my morning routine that helps me stay grounded and fill up went out the window, that should have been my first sign that I needed to make some changes, because I was already starting into burnout, and then it was a pretty rough road after that. So we want to start with self-awareness and assessing, where am I? And I do have some tools on my website. I'm also happy to just help, but I want you to find ways to figure out what is shifting in my body. So for example, when we talk about stress, most of us carry it up here in our shoulders, right? So when we're stressed, what do? We keep raising our shoulders and just hold them up. And then we go, why do I have a headache? Oh, because I'm stressed. I've been holding the tension right here in my shoulders for too long. So that's even its own self-awareness to say, hey, something's going on. Let's make a change. So once you know those signs and maybe how high your stress levels or burnout levels are, then we can move into that second step of our action plan, which is identify your desired goal, right? So do you have a desired work-life balance? And work-life balance is an interesting concept these days. I fully promote a healthy work-life balance, but with some caveats, meaning my work-life balance is not yours, and one client's work-life balance is not somebody else's, right? Because we're also individual. And I also really encourage that balance is not static. So what is a balance for you in this season of life, right? So it could be this fall season that we're in, coming into the holiday season, kids have sports, we're headed into winter, like whatever it is. So look at the seasons and look at what you have going on in life to identify what is your desired work-life balance now. We also have to determine what's priority in life, because sometimes we make everything a priority and then we feel like we're failing. We have to prioritize certain things, right? So when we talk about that work-life balance in this season, certain things are going to be priorities. So if you have kids in sports, their sporting events are probably going to be a priority over helping at a community event, right? And that's okay, because when sports are over, you can help out at events. So really looking at those two. And the reason I have these as that second step is because once we know where we're at, if we know where we want to be, what that goal is, then we know where we're headed. We have to know where we're headed to create that plan. It's harder to create a plan and not know where I'm going, right? Because I might go this way and then I might go that way. But we want to go one way. We want to head towards our goal. And yes, it might be a zigzag way, but at least the focus is on the future and where you want it to be. So let's figure out where you want to go. Third, we want to do things that help our emotional wellness. This means understanding what you're feeling and why, because the more in tune you are with that, the more you can manage those responses and learn to control those emotions, right? I talk to people a lot about emotions aren't good or bad. Emotions are information. It's information that tells us how we're responding to a situation. It tells us what's going on either within ourselves or the circumstances around us, that we need to pay attention to something. Because what's the negative of the emotion is actually our behavior. So if we react in a situation, right? If I'm angry and I yell at somebody, it's the yelling that's not good. It's not being angry. It's the anger tells me something's going on that I need to pay attention to. So if I'm aware of my feelings and I'm aware of why I feel that way or the thing that triggers it, I can start to shift my action from a reaction, right, which is more explosive, to a controlled response. So we want to be able to work on that with our emotions so that we can manage those stressful situations better. The fourth part of the action plan I want to talk about is the mental wellness. So this is the more logical part of your brain, right? How you think about situations. Because how we think directly connects back to how we feel and how we act. It can also include the things that we believe. So this is where we talk a lot about those negative thoughts and beliefs that come up, right? The thoughts of, I can't ever get a break, or I'm not worth things going the way I want them to. Bad things always happen to me. These are some common ones that I hear all the time. But when we talk about trying to improve our mental wellness, right, we can talk about really focusing on gratitude for the day, which can help pull up that positive part of our thoughts. So the more positive we are, the better. We also have to sometimes deal with the negative thoughts and beliefs that come up, especially for the things that are repetitive, right? They come up over and over and over again. Well, to do this, we want to look at challenging those negative thoughts and beliefs, because in that moment you might think this always happens to me, or I'm not worth having what I want. But I'm going to take a bet that if you paused and reflected, you would find some situations that actually tell you the opposite of those negative thoughts and beliefs. So we want to start to challenge those and help our brain start to rewrite to say, no, I'm not going to believe the negative anymore because I know it's not true. We all go through negative situations and we all have those moments, but I promise you, there is good that's going on too. We just tend to see the negative more. So the fifth area we're going to talk about is our physical wellness, because we have to take care of our physical body. If we are not taking care of our physical body and making sure that we are flexible and healthy and strong, it's going to be harder to continue to do what you feel called to do. So you have to take care of that, right? So to take care of the physical body, this is talking about, are you resting when your body says, I'm tired and you need to rest? I talk a lot about learning how to listen to your body. Are you feeding it things that are nutritious, right? The foods and the liquids, the drinks that you take in, are these nutritious and helpful, right? So for example, sugary foods can cause more fatigue. You get these energy spikes and then drops. Whereas if I eat more whole foods, fresh vegetables and fruits, healthy fats, it's going to energize me and it's actually going to give me more mental clarity. So and it's going to help my physical body function better. So when we talk about physical wellness, right, it's, are you resting? Are you nourishing it the right way? And then are you moving, right? We need some form of movement, exercise, working out, whichever term suits you. We need that in our day, because the more we do those things, the more we move our body, the better we feel. And the more we're going to be able to move. Because you see, the more I sit in this chair, the stiffer I get and the harder it is to move. But I have to. So if I get up and move throughout the day, even for short increments, I have more ability to move and flexibility. So I can do those things. So when you take care of your physical wellness, you can do more in your purpose, right? Every area is going to connect to the other. The sixth area I want to talk about is your spiritual wellness. Because we are spiritual beings, we all believe in some higher power. But if we're disconnected from that, it can be a lot harder to get through the day. Because what I've seen is those who have some routine, some spiritual routine that keeps them grounded and connected because it also connects to your purpose, they feel better, right? So I have seen people who have a routine every morning of getting up and say they move their body and then they do meditation or devotional time, and then they can go about their day and manage the stress that shows up because they have that time to connect to what's important spiritually that helps them feel grounded and lifted and filled up. And it is important. It is not an area we can neglect. Oftentimes we do, but we have to look at it because it is part of who we are. It's a part of our entire being. And so part of that burnout plan is looking at that spiritual assessment and that wellness area for you. The seventh area and the last area I want to talk about is reassessing. So just like I mentioned when it comes to work-life balance, it's not static. So our burnout recovery plan shouldn't be static either because we have to constantly be assessing, right? I have to always be assessing and in tune with my body to say, is something off today? What am I missing and what do I need to connect to more, right? Because if I have that awareness and I'm constantly assessing, I'm going to know if I'm off in my physical wellness, my spiritual wellness, my mental, emotional wellness areas, or maybe my balance is off in what is helpful in life in this season. And so as I constantly reassess and have that awareness, you're going to be able to make those small tweaks, right? It's not going to have to be a huge adjustment, but it can be small. So I hope that you found this 7-step action plan helpful. And if you're questioning, like, I'm not sure where to start, how to go, let's connect. I am happy to have a conversation with you. I offer free consultations all the time. You can check that out at abundantwellnessessentials.com/consult. And I would love to help you identify your plan that's helpful.